Hello, everyone. Just waiting here. Got a few more minutes, so hang tight. I'll repeat this again, but just a little info in case this is your first one or not quite familiar with how Zoom webinars work. I am opening it up for Q&A, so there should be an option on your screen to type in some questions. They don't even have to relate to what I'm talking about. So if anybody has any questions right now, I kind of want me to cover, go ahead and put that in right now. I'll periodically kind of stop and monitor that and ask questions along the way, but hope to leave some time at the end as well. So in addition, I love interaction, so I am more than happy to, if somebody wants to raise their hand, there should be an option to raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can ask questions that way as well. So let's hang tight here for just a couple more minutes and I'll try to get started right on time. Thank you. Okay, let's just kind of get started. I'm sure there's people that are still joining. I just for those of you that weren't here just a couple minutes ago, this is an open Q&A as well. I'll be going through some stuff, but feel free to post questions in the Q&A area. Raise your hand if you'd like to unmute, and I can unmute you and we'll talk. So interactive conversation is more than welcome. So with that being said, let's get started. I am recording this, so we hope to, what we do is post those as well as share those after the session as well. So welcome everyone to 2022. I know, believe it or not, it's already a month into 2022. So I apologize, I never got to one in January, but these sessions are designed, if you're first one attending, these sessions are designed to just kind of give some overview of some recent additions we've had, just kind of go over some tips, tricks, things I'm hearing. People ask a lot for support, etc. So with that, let's kind of go through the slides. I'll have a few slides, and then from there, we'll jump in and kind of show you some stuff. So what I first kind of want to do talk about is kind of recap 2021, and then kind of what's current and future plans, cover a couple of new features, and then kind of go into the software, kind of cover the information that I have on my agenda, and then mixed in within that, I'm sure there's going to be questions people want me to go, and we can do that as well. So, and at the end, really would appreciate it if everybody fills out the survey. This is how I learn if I'm being productive, if this is valuable to you guys, what you want to see. So please give me feedback, good or bad. All is welcome, and I'm serious in that too. So all right, so with that being said, I just kind of wanted to recap a few of the highlights 2021. If somebody has been on the full year, many years, or just joined, this is kind of a recap. So in 2021, we had 50 total releases, almost, so that basically equates to almost weekly on average. 16 announced feature releases, meaning release, some of those releases kind of have some back end stuff that we're doing on the back end, whether we see a bug or other stuff. But 16 announced feature releases, which is pretty awesome versus previous years. So highlights, kind of to recap, is occupancy map enhancements and book by type from the occupancy, building a responsive booking engine, so not needing to separate a mobile booking engine, which doesn't have as many features as the standard booking engine. Released some new reports, introduced EMV credit card support. For those of you that are working with Shift4 or not, if you're interested, let me know there. Retail sale invoices, which I'll try to cover today too, because gearing up for the season, that may be valuable. And then Google Hotels integration was towards, I suppose that was last half of last year. So for those of you that are asking questions and putting in chats, I will get to those. I'll probably just take a little break here and answer those questions. So current and looking forward. So I'll cover a couple of new features, but in addition to, we've kind of finalized our POS integration for those of you that might have restaurants. Our first integration with Heartland Restaurant, pretty much ready to go. So you can, at the end in the survey, if you want to be reached out to, please let us know. Next up for other POS systems is an integration with a company called Comtrol. Think of them almost like a channel manager if anybody works with OTAs. So they're a company that interfaces with a lot of different POS systems. So please share information here in the polls and surveys that I ask. So next up, kind of what we're thinking for integrations is door locks, just based upon the feedback that we've received. And then again, kind of survey at the end, let us know what you think, what you're kind of looking for. So looks like I have a little over 20 attendees on here, so it doesn't represent our entire base, but hey, everybody's feedback is welcome. So all right. Actually, before I get started, I have somebody that's raised their hand. So let's maybe address that first. Judy, do you have a specific question on anything? I've unmuted you. You can unmute yourself if you have a question, otherwise on anything so far. Okay. I will move on. So kind of a couple of the latest features. Now we'll show these two that I wanted to recap is some warnings / suggestions for the booking engine. So we received, people wondering when they first start up or maybe a ways in, asking us some questions about their booking engine, their guest experience, maybe why it's not set up properly, etc. Well, we've now introduced some warning area. So if you go to your booking engine sections, we're going to kind of let you know of some things that we would recommend, flat out error messages, like if it's not functioning because maybe you don't have policies and anything set up. So recommend and suggestions too. So I encourage everyone here to, after this, go log in and go to the booking engine section and see if you have any suggestions or warnings there. So I'll kind of cover that, but things like maybe you haven't loaded in images for a certain unit. We're going to warn you about that, right? Images are huge. How many days booking in advance? I always recommend booking out close to a year, at least 330 days in the future. So things like that will start showing up in your booking engine area. The next feature I want to talk about is custom messages on the booking engine. So we've always kind of had this, but we required you to tell us that you want it, what message, then our team would have to go and load those in, and it was kind of a process. We've now allowed you guys to take control over that. So in the booking engine section, there is now a custom message area. You can decide whether you want to show one or not, and what areas of the booking engine you want that message to show. Again, this is kind of the first release for this feature, so we anticipate being allowed like a custom different messages at every step of the way. Right now, it's the same message. You just decide what areas of the program you want to go to. So this is like an example of how it might appear. So, you know, you can do things like bold and change font and sizing and links and everything too. So kind of recap that as well. Okay, so before I kind of switch over into the software, what I thought I would do is kind of look at the questions here that people have asked so far, make sure I address it, and we'll go from there. So looks like some people are using the chat, which is fine, and some people are using the question and answer. So I have a chat to how can rooms be blocked off, marked out of service for an extended length of time, not just for a day or two, but for 6 weeks at a time during a special event or a 5-month stretch when the business is closed. And then a double back comment on that is I want to know how to do that too. So let's switch over into the software. Close that down. It's all right. I'm going to minimize that. Okay. So the short answer is not as easy as it needs to be. However, from the occupancy map. So one easy way to do it is if you click on the word new, and some of you may not even have ever used this, but this new reservation out of service allows you to choose a quote unquote arrival date and a departure date. And you can basically, I thought there was a, you know what? I apologize. Let me go back. I need to go back on that one. So I really apologize. I thought there was a way to do an out of service. So you caught me on that one. I'm going to go back. I'm going to email everybody that's on this session talking about that. So what the issue is, I'm sure, is that right now it's a click and drag, right? So you click and you drag and you kind of have to hold it over. So that's, you know, if it's like a really long time period, like 7 months or 5 months or anything like that, you kind of have to wait. So when you release it, then basically it's an out of service, right? So this is like a 76. So that's not ideal. It's usable, but it's not ideal. So some people quickly go in here and shrink down their column width and then save it. And then they can go through and it's a lot quicker because it's just a lot more days at a time. So that's one option to do it. I will get back to you with my other thought on that I was going to do, and then it didn't work out. So hope that at least gives you some insight. The other scenario that you mentioned, like if the business is closed, that I would actually recommend just closing your rates. So closing your rates makes everything not available. So if that's the scenario, if you're doing it because you're just closed for operations, you can go into the configuration section under rates and actually close out your rates altogether. So you could add a season, If I close the business down in November 1st, I can go in here and just say close them up, and then you open them back up when you open. So if that's the scenario where your business is actually closed, that's what we would recommend doing. So hope that at least helps there. Next question is, what is EMV credit card support? So EMV is, I forgot what it stands for. It's the chip card in credit cards. So we work with Shift4 for credit card processing. Previously, it was only available to use like a swiper, so you could swipe cards in when you wanted to load them in. But now we've certified on an EMV device from them, which if you're processing, they will provide, where basically when you go to a person and you want to, if they give you a credit card, so if I go in here and add a card and I say card present, you can actually insert a card now. So with the chip card. So it's kind of adding that chip card compatibility within our software. You can follow up with me if you have more questions, but that's what it is. And one of our customers actually brought up the fact that I can enter the dates and then choose out of service. So thank you, Lori. So go create new reservation. You actually choose the dates. I just didn't go far enough. I apologize. I thought it was actually on this screen right here. You have to actually see what unit you want to put out of service, and then you go out of service. So thank you, Lori. I knew it was there. I just didn't take that extra step. So I apologize there. I'm glad. I love that our customers chime in and answer that too. So last question so far, and then I'll jump in. I apologize. I just wanted to hit all the questions here. So when I start using Channel Manager, will I be able to use a higher rate on Expedia than regular rates from our website? So the shorter answer is yes. If you are using the Channel Manager connection, you can not give them the same rates as you're posting online. You can either do that by just setting up an Expedia rate in our software, and that's the rate that you're sending to them, or the Channel Manager actually has a way to take whatever we are giving them and just increasing your rate. So a lot of times people will go that way. They'll just give them your standard rate, and then the Channel Manager, you say, hey, whatever they give me, increase it by 15%. So that is, that's a way to do it. So our support team can help with that. So please give the support team a call, email, if you'd like to kind of go over that scenario. So thanks for the question. All right, that is all of the questions so far. So I will go back to kind of what the things that I wanted to cover. I wanted to kind of recap those 2 new features instead of slides. I hate slides, but I wanted to recap that. So the first one was the booking engine kind of warnings and suggestions. So in my demo here, I purposely changed some of my things so messages would pop up. So we always recommend allowing reservations at least 330 days in the future, just to capture people that are making those future reservations. We're seeing the trend uptick again. So people, even though they're still probably making reservations closer to arrival than normal, that trend is ticking upwards. So that's kind of a message there. In mine, I took one of my units and I just removed all of my pictures. So this is basically giving me the warning that, hey, I've got a room or a cabin out there that I haven't loaded any pictures in, and that is not the best experience for the guest. So basically what that means is just listen to those, go into the configuration. For me, it was, I think, cabin number 1. I can go into images here and see there's no images. So now I can go through and kind of add in my pictures on there. you know, save that information. So again, that's kind of the warning message there that goes away now that I've added the pictures there. So and then the custom message on the booking engine. So same section here. I'm in the booking engine section under custom message. So by default, this thing is toggled off. You can toggle it on, and then it basically says, well, what pages do you want this thing to show on? So maybe if it's a message just about, you know, the initial arrival departure search, you wouldn't maybe necessarily need to have it on, you know, the upsell page or the confirmation page, etc. But you get to decide there, change it. And I just kind of made a note here. You can do different fonts. You can do bold and italics and sizes and backgrounds. And, you know, I have this red and asterisk. So what this is used for is some people have sort of some unusual messages, or not unusual messages, and not even unusual practices, but something they really want to draw attention to. Maybe you've always had an issue where people bring pets thinking they could bring pets, and you want to make sure you try to say, hey, we do not allow pets. So when you put that on there, this is how it displays to the customer. So I go to that initial booking engine and it will put whatever I put in there. So this kind of looks exactly like it, but this is kind of how it portrays on the booking engine. So again, it allows you to sort of customize that. Susan just asked a question about, can you have custom messages for different pages? I touched on that. Right now, it's the same messages for all pages. We just released this feature. We will keep working on that feature though, so you could have a different message for a different page. So that is one thing we're kind of working and flushing that out, but we released it. So that answers that question. So the last thing I'm not really going to be able to show is the POS integration. So I would appreciate, even if you guys are not using a POS system, I'm going to launch a poll here. And if you guys could just take, it should take like 30 seconds to go through and answer some of these. So if you guys could please take that little bit of time and answer these questions for us, that would be really appreciated. We just kind of want to get a handle on, at least for this webinar, who showed up, if you have POS systems in place, if so, what's it for, just kind of some options about pricing. So is everyone seeing this? I'm not getting anyone that's answering this. Oh, started to get some people answering. So I'll give it just a couple of minutes here. If we could just go through and answer those as best you can. Just give us some data to move forward with. So got almost 20% of the people participating. So I'll wait till I get at least over 50%. We're almost there. Keep going. I should have asked what location everybody's in. I hope people are staying safe. I understand there's a big, massive storm kind of going up that's going to affect major part of the US from Texas all the way up to the East Coast. So if anybody is in that area, stay safe. I know, especially down in Texas, I remember last year they had some storms that wiped out electricity and frozen pipes. So if any of you are in that area, I wish you well. Hey, got somebody from the hill country of Texas. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, hopefully nothing like that happens. So, all right, I'm going to give it 20 more seconds. If anybody hasn't participated, that would be fabulous if you did. Otherwise, I'm not going to sit here and make everybody sit. So 10 more seconds. Try to squeeze the last little bit of participation. Otherwise, we're going to call it quits. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. And then at the very end, I'm just going to say it again. I really love people participating in the survey. Tell me if these things that I go through on a monthly basis are valuable. I don't want to do these things if it's not finding value. So far, I've gotten always really good feedback, but if it's the bad feedback that people just don't answer, it won't hurt my feelings. If you want to tell me what to do next, I appreciate the feedback. So, okay. So that's kind of that POS integration. So I appreciate you filling that out. And at the end, you can kind of let me know if you'd like to be reached out with regards to that. Kind of want to be one of our early adopters on that scenario. From that point, I'm actually going to go do kind of some tips and tricks in the software. And I want to kind of focus around the occupancy map. So we've had a lot of releases here, and we're only going to continue because the occupancy map is where a lot of people work from. It's where they sit and spend a lot of their time. So we're really hammering out a lot of new feature releases here. And I just kind of want to recap sort of the occupancy map in general. I covered this a couple of months ago, but in case you didn't, we released the custom color feature on here, which means by default, all the reservations are color coded by payment status. And again, I tell everybody I'm colorblind, but mine it's red, yellow, blue. Most people are probably red, yellow, green. But then we introduced the ability to turn a reservation a certain color just because you want it to, and you want it to mean something. So we introduced the concept of custom colors. So I'm going to do it after the fact. I've got some custom colors lined up. But if I click on this reservation, I can kind of see if you have not set up the custom colors yet, there'll be an option to set it up here. But I have some custom colors defined, which means different things, right? So this one happens to be an early arrival, but these two are coming in as a group. I've got separate reservations, but I kind of wanted to notate them being part of a group. This color means they have a boat with them, or they're going to be renting a boat or bringing pets, etc. So just to give you some ideas there, I just wanted to bring that up and recap that. The other parts of some of the newer enhancements, I'll get to some questions here. Just give me a couple more minutes here and I'll go through the questions. You'll notice on my screen, I'm seeing a lot of information without ever having to click, right? So I can kind of see their payment status. I can see who's coming, how many adults, children, or pet types, the nights that they're staying, phone number. I'm seeing actual custom fields showing up. So like housekeeping notes and license plate numbers. So all of that is some customizations that you can do under the settings. So if I click on that little gear icon, the little settings icon, and go under display settings, this is kind of where the magic happens. So this is where you adjust the height and the width of the columns. Do I want to show, the person's name and phone number? Do I want to show the number of nights, guest counts? And then here, if you have any custom fields in your software, built in your software, you have the option of showing that field. So if there's data in that field for that reservation, it'll show up. So on that previous example, I had one that had housekeeping notes and license plate entered. And then what's great here is you get a little preview of it. So this is where maybe you only have 3 lines of information. You're not doing any custom fields, or you have the custom fields. So you kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like. And then for a one-night reservation, right? So obviously, if you have a lot of info you want to put on here, with a one-night reservation, you can kind of decide what the best scenario is there. So just wanted to show that. And a couple of questions that came in from that is the color coding available for units as well? So yes, so you will see on my screen, I background shade different colors for different units. We also have this bar on the side. So what those are is if I click on that settings, I actually can go to unit colors. So the bar on the side, for me, I've got like the rate plan. So it's kind of almost like the unit type. So, you know, I've got cabins, right? So I might have like 2-bedroom cabins and 3-bedroom cabins, or lake view, or, you know, garden view rates kind of set up. So I could have that color bar on the side. And when I do that, that sort of gives me the option to kind of go through and color code my rate types. And then I can actually go through and individually shade the background of my units. So these could mean anything, right? Like these could mean, oh, they're by the playground, and these ones are right on the water, and these ones are, you know, stuck back into the woods, or, you know, and these are campsites. So you kind of get to customize all of that. So then basically what that looks like is this, right? So these are the different unit types over here. And then I have the different background images on here. So that answers that question. Is there a way to see frequent guests by name and how many times they have been on the property? I'm guessing you're talking about like at a glance. So at a glance, without going into anything, no, we really don't have a way to, like, on this little square to put that information on there. But you can easily click in here and go to view that person, and you will be able to see how many reservations they've had, how many nights they've stayed with you. So that information is quickly available, but we just don't have a way to store that to where it displays on that calendar. Again, there's only so much real estate we're working with here. So, but keep the suggestions coming if that's something you'd want to see. So a couple more questions. The custom message appear on the confirmation letter when the guest books online. So I'm guessing you mean the custom message that you put up here. Does that display on the confirmation letter? So the quick answer is no. This is mainly used for like pre-reservation messages a lot of times. So like, hey, note, in the summertime, you have to, you know, I'll accept reservations from Saturday to Saturday only, unless you want to call me, and then you could have a link to like phone number and all of that stuff on here. So that's kind of what those messages are for, not necessarily confirmation messages. But ping me later if you want to kind of explore that option. I've got some ideas or scenarios there for you. Great. Yep. Thanks for the note on the POS. Is there a way for the system to override the custom color after checkout? So you're saying that a person has checked out and you want to override that. So there is no way those past reservations that have checked out will stay the same custom color. So if anybody's paying attention to these notes, so when you do change a custom color, the dollar bill then appears for the payment status, and then this little symbol means they're checked out. So checked in has a little check marks, checked out as that. So no, they will stay the same color if you've chosen a custom color. Now you could go in and click on that past reservation and, you know, undo the custom color, and then it basically takes away that custom color. But no, the system does not automatically assume you want that color to disappear. So yeah, thanks for the note, Jamie. Good suggestion. It'd be great to have a plus or something by a repeat customer to show on the occupancy map. So yeah, no, that's a good suggestion idea. I do know that I don't know how many people are using tags. So that'd be a one way to do it. You can have repeat tag be an important tag. It depends upon how many other important tags you have. So some people indicate their repeat guests with an important tag, and then that's kind of the only important tag they have. And then basically it creates this little tag symbol here, which basically means that, you know, they're a repeat customer down here. That's why this tag is showing, because Harry is a repeat customer. So good suggestion though. And I do take all of these things and pass it on to the development team after these things too. So, okay, those are all so far the only questions I've got. So a couple of other things I wanted to cover is a wait list. I don't know if I just ran into a string of people that just forgot about the wait list or they didn't have a wait list, but in the last month or two, I've talked to a lot of people that just didn't really have an idea there was a wait list on there. If you do operate with a wait list, there is a little box, a little square here that implements a wait list feature. So what that does is it puts a line on there and it'll just stay on there, and you can add people to the wait list. So if there's a plus sign, it means nobody's on the wait list. You can add people to the wait list, and then it just shows the number of people on the wait list. And it is automated to where if you do cancel a reservation during that time period that anybody is on the wait list, it will ask you after you cancel, would you like to view the wait list? So I just kind of wanted to cover that because I've run into a lot of people who weren't aware of that. So the other quick thing I wanted to cover is the ability to quickly change rates pretty easily. And this is for a scenario of, oh, geez, I didn't realize there was a concert coming in next month. I should increase my rates for that weekend, or, you know, those types of scenarios. It isn't necessarily for modifying your entire rate structure. But if you click on this little dollar bill sign, it loads up all of your default rates for that particular time period. Now you can hit this little show all rates button. The reason why we did it this way is when you do show all rates, you'll notice like I have a ton of different rates, right? So it just is a slower load time if we try to load those all up in there. So this is a way you can kind of monitor your occupancies for your entire property at the top. And then for each kind of rate plan or unit type has its own bar here. And the occupancy levels are under there. And if there's a time where you just kind of want to increase your rates, like maybe this Friday and Saturday, the 18th and 19th is when you realize there's a concert, you have a few rooms left, let's make the most of it and capture the most revenue. I can just come to the word all here and just kind of click and drag for these 2 nights. It selects all my rates under here and then say, you know what, let's just increase them by 20%. I know I'm going to book up. I have a few rooms left, so let's just try to capture that additional, you know, revenue coming in for people that are going to be here anyways. So I know I'm going to book up. So those are just a ways to quickly modify those. When you do that, if any of these rates are connected to the OTAs, it will send that information out to the OTAs that you just raised your rates as well. So I just want to make a note on there. So somebody is asking, is there a way to add someone to the wait list without making an account for them? The short answer is no. I would probably say you should enter them just so you have them in your database. I don't know if you use any marketing, filter your databases and do any email marketing or anything like that. We always encourage you to get people into your database if they're interested in your property. But the quick answer is no, you do need to create an actual person in the database. It can just be a first and last name. You wouldn't have to collect all of the information if you didn't want to, but you'll want their email, their phone number to reach out to them if they do want to, book and come and stay with you. So I would encourage you to grab that information and just create an account for them. So the next question here, when I was going through rates, will it connect automatically to our website booking engine if we increase the rates? Yes, immediately. So the moment I did that rate change in here, my website instantly knew the rate change, and these dates and rates will be updated. If any one of you are using our pro version of our cloud that now has Google Hotels integration, again, same scenario. Google Hotels will know about those rate changes as well. So just as an FYI. So hey, I appreciate everybody responding to people's questions. I love the interaction there. So thank you. So yeah, custom colors using for repeat guests. That's a good example. Thanks, Kyla. All right, so far that's all the questions. Thanks, keep them coming if you have them. So I addressed the custom colors, adding the custom fields, the rates. One of the last things I wanted to show on the on this occupancy map is this sometimes is only an issue for people with a lot of units. So a lot of units, or just enough units that basically can't fit on the same screen, and you're pretty busy. So if that's your scenario where you're kind of booked up quite a bit and you've got units down here, you can actually click on the day. So if somebody calls you and says, oh yeah, I just want to know what you have available for the 4th, you can actually click on the 4th, and it instantly starts filtering out units that are only available on the 4th. And then you could come in and select the dates here. It starts creating this little filter. So show me all the units that are available from the 4th through the 6th. These are the only 2 units available for the 4th through the 6th. So just kind of a quick way to sort of filter out those units there. So that was kind of before we had this new reservation wizard. In my mind, if you're really that booked and you're looking on the calendar, another great way too is just do it this way. So new reservation, and then choose their arrival and departure dates in here. So it automatically kind of does that for you. So these are the only units available for these dates. So it kind of almost acts like your own little booking engine within the software. So that's kind of the occupancy map stuff. I do have one more thing I wanted to cover before we go into just a general Q&A, if anybody wants to unmute their mic or have anything, but I just kind of wanted to recover the retail sale option. So this was kind of a sneaky little feature that we released. I did do a webinar on it, but I'm finding if you didn't attend the webinar and you're not paying attention to the releases, which is another thing I wanted to show you, it gets missed. So we used to have it to where, and this is a scenario, right? So people, if you have a gift shop or something that people are purchasing and they're not putting it on, they don't have a reservation or they don't want to put it on their reservation bill, you just kind of wanted to create a quick sale for them, like a POS system almost. We used to have to assign it to a person in your account. So you'd almost have to create a person and go through that scenario. Well, we introduced retail sale now, and you can get to that a couple of different ways. One is to just hit new here, and you could say invoice for a retail sale, which basically immediately comes into, you know, adding the POS item. So candy, save, and they pay cash with it. So you can kind of quickly just create an invoice here and it's done. So I've created an invoice. It didn't have to be attached to a person. It didn't have to be attached to a reservation. It's just some quick sale that you just wanted to record. The other place that you can go to here is the invoices section. We now have two little icons here. One is to create an invoice attached to a person. So again, it's not even attaching it to a reservation, but it is needing to attach it to a person. And then here is the retail sale option. So that's kind of where you would go if you just want to quickly add a retail sale. So I got a question for POS integration. When will it come? Will it be extra cost? You may have missed the opening part. So we did just finalize our POS connection with Heartland Restaurant is our first connection. We'll be closely following that with a connection to Comtrol, which actually is going to cover then a variety of other POS systems. So that'll be kind of the next integration. So I did have a poll question about pricing, because that will be an additional feature. What's nice about it is it'll be an additional feature people can add on no matter what level of software they're on. So if you're not familiar, we have 3 levels of our software: basic, standard, and pro. Previous to this, we've sort of attached it to a certain level of the program. It makes more sense, like if people don't want to do online, or if they're not doing online reservations, but they still have a restaurant, they still might want the POS. So that'll kind of be an add-on feature. So we'll be finalizing the cost. I did create a poll there to get everybody's opinion on what their thoughts are, but we haven't finalized that. So if you're interested, please take the survey at the end, have me reach out, we can connect and chat about it and go from there. So let me see. Got another question here. Can you review how to add birthday or anniversaries to show on the occupancy map? I do use tags. It would be great to see on the reservation. So you're talking about, Judy, if you're not available to talk, let me know. Otherwise, you can unmute yourself. And then I just want to get clarification where you're storing that, and I just wanted to get an idea of that. All right, you maybe don't have a microphone or anything. So if you're storing it in a custom field, you go to the settings under display settings and custom fields here. So these are custom fields, whether attached to a reservation or a person. So again, we don't have the ability to show custom dates if you're storing it as a date field, but if you're storing it as a text custom field, you can show this information. So it's under the settings and the show custom fields part. I'm assuming you mean like where you can just see it without even having to go in there. So again, that's where, like this example of Gary had some notes here. Tom has a note under arrival time 5:30 license plate. So all right, cool. Thanks, Judy. Okay, so it's 12:45. That's almost exactly when I wanted to shut up and let anybody else ask any questions if they have any. So fire away if you do. Otherwise, I am going to just let you know our development team is really working hard. We're plugging away. We're listening to people's feedback. It may not, everybody has different needs and wants. We're trying to address everything. We're taking high priority first, but please keep the feedback coming. If you ever miss any update, we do, when we have an announceable feature, we do blast a message up. We find that a lot of people kind of instantly close that out and move on. But if you do ever want to go back into look to see features that we've released or information, if you click on this bell icon, you can choose the messages here. And say view latest news, and it will show, you can link, and it'll show all of our kind of our archives of messages put up with our you know, what the feature was and how it works and pictures and everything like that. So I'd encourage you to kind of review that information, look over and ask any questions. I had a question about interested in learning more about Google Hotels integration. Yeah. So Google Hotels is phenomenal. It's been, for those of you that are on the pro version of our software, you should actually be automatically on Google Hotels now. If you're not on the pro version, I would encourage you to reach out to me. We can kind of get you a little free trial and see how successful it is. There's nothing for you to really do. We load you up and submit your information to Google, and then it automatically ties in your rates and availability with Google. I did do a webinar it was in December. It was the custom colors webinar. I think the webinar was labeled kind of custom colors, but I'd say at least half of the webinar was dedicated to Google Hotels as well. So reach out to me, watch that webinar in case you have any questions. So, and then, yeah, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about Google Hotels. It's showing some amazing results, especially if you're already on OTAs, how to capture those reservations and not have to pay the OTAs the commissions. And it just gives you more visibility online. So more and more people are using Google to really start their search for their vacations. So being able to work with them. So got a question here about working with a different gateway other than Shift4. So yeah, I didn't mention that, but yep. So we, not today, I should clarify that, sorry. We do not have today. Working with another credit card company is on our agenda. I apologize, you received bad experience. That stinks. I've heard good things about them, but I understand if you've had a bad experience. They do have a gateway only option, so you could have a different processor. So if that helps, you wouldn't have to have them, you know, as your actual merchant services. So that's one option, but we do plan on integrating with other credit card companies. So, okay, thanks for the info there, Kyla. We can chat about it. Yes, we are. That is kind of on our future this year plans. So stick with us. It'll happen. So all right. Any other questions? Yep. Okay, got it. There are more questions. Apologize, I didn't scroll down. So is it possible to show the calendar showing one day before requested dates? Would the guests see options with multiple nights? So the question is it possible to show the calendar showing one day before requested dates? Would help the guests to see options with multiple nights. I'm assuming you're talking about this information. So if people are changing their dates, you'd want to show the kind of the dates before that. The quick answer is no, it'll show you today's date. Like it will never show you yesterday's availability. I haven't been asked that before, but not to say that that's not a good idea. I've just, I don't necessarily know the use case, but like if they're not here already, I'm not sure the value of storing yesterday, but I'll take that offline, Daniel. We can chat about that and reasons why and see if it makes sense. So, and Eileen, how to put an alert on the system to warn you of a late online booking for the same day. So a couple of things I want to make a note of here. You will always get an email with a copy of that confirmation. So you will get an email when people make a new reservation. If you're in the software, this little bell rings and puts a number 1 on there. But the other scenario here is a lot of people don't know if you don't want to take same day reservations or you want to take them up to a certain time of the day, you can actually set that in the booking engine settings. So if you go to booking engine and booking settings, if you put 0 here means you're going to take the same day reservation, and this is how far in the future. And then if you do same day reservations, you can cut it off at a certain time of the day, right? So if you know you kind of close up shop and head out for the day at 9 p.m., it means as long as they book before 9 o'clock your time for today, they can still come. But if they check in your booking engine after 9 o'clock, tonight is no longer going to be available. So that's kind of the option. So the warnings are the email that you get, the bell rings, and then the options are if you do want to cut that off. So like if you do leave the property or heading to bed or something, you can cut those reservations from even coming in at all. Judy, yeah, thanks for the webinar. Be available under the knowledge base. Yes, so I am recording this webinar. We do post those once the webinar is done. I save those. I get our team to upload those to the software. Again, that's kind of found under the news and the webinars, and then you can view those. So all of our I can see the website. That page hasn't been set. We got a brand new website here, so I'll have to make a note here. They need to get this page set up. But yes, they will show up in the usability webinars. I believe we also do email all of our attendees with an alert that it's been loaded, but usually by tomorrow or worst case Friday, they will be loaded in there for you to review the webinar. Thanks for the question. So all right, Kyla and Daniel, I'll take that offline. Jason Ball, any plan to implement an option to adjust the way rates display? Example, discounts would show on the top of the list. Discounts would show on the top of the list on the occupancy map. So these are your default rates. So you may or may not have any discounts or anything, and you may or may not have anything. So no, there is no way to change what's viewed on here besides changing your default rate. As far as the booking engine goes, it will do the same thing, right? Your default rate is your default rate. There are so many options when it comes to discounts and things. We want to promote your standard rate, but then have the option of promoting discount rates. So at this time, Jason, the answer is no. I'd love to, chat offline. You can shoot me an email or we can schedule a call, just kind of learn the scenarios on why you'd want them to see the discounted rate before the regular rate. And if it is just kind of your regular rate that you offer, I can show you how to make sure you can adjust your regular rates, and then that is your discounted rate. So, okay. Before anybody drops off online, I'm going to stop this, but please take the survey. Again, I know this is probably the 15th time I've said it. I love hearing from people. I love hearing feedback. I love hearing suggestions. We take all suggestions, whether it's something that we can implement right away or not. We do like hearing them, and we do take stock and review those. So I will follow up with anybody that has any outstanding questions that I didn't get to. And again, on the survey that I'm going to be, after this webinar shows up, there's going to be a survey. Fill that out if you want to be reached out to. There's an option, would you like to be contacted, in the phone number, email. So I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for participating. I'm 4 minutes early. I'm glad I got out on time and I wasn't so long-winded, but I really enjoy everybody that shows up. Tell all your friends, and we'll see you again next month if we don't chat with you before then. So happy 2022 to everybody. Thank you.